Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals he's waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home. Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading, pleading for you and for me? Why should we linger and heed not his mercies, mercies for you and for me? Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home. Oh, for the wonderful love he has promised, promised for you and for me. Though we have sinned, he has mercy and pardon, pardon for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home.
Hey everybody, we're so glad that you have joined us for Vespers. Again, a chance when we get to gather together and we get to talk with some folks and hear how folks are doing in our community of faith and in our family of faith. So we're so glad that you have joined us this evening where we can have a chance again to be reminded that we're not alone. So we're going to light this candle this evening, celebrating the presence of Christ who is in us, among us, and beyond us. Remember those also in our community and in our family of faith who are suffering this evening. Thank you for being here. Today in Madison County was the first day back to school, and we didn't go back anywhere, but we went off to bedrooms. There wasn't quite the rush that there usually is on the first day of school. Melissa did make some awesome signs. We usually take pictures of the kids with signs out front, and they're not real excited about that, but Melissa made some signs that said first day of, 6th and 7th grade, virtual. And so it was not ideal, as it hasn't been for many folks who are going back to school and for teachers and the like. And yet, things went well, and I can't help but be grateful to all the educators, to the administrators, to the folks who are looking out for our kids and who are working so hard to make this school year go well and to make the best out of a difficult situation. Because ideal really is always just fantasy, isn't it? It's never going to be ideal. It's never going to be perfect. But we always have the opportunity to make the best of it. So maybe we can know and find some solace in the fact that we can live in these imperfections. And we can know that as we work, like our teachers are working so hard right now, to create spaces of welcome and of hope, we are really making a difference in the world around us. And things are better than they might have been otherwise. So hang in there, all of you folks who are in the middle of school or back to school right now. We appreciate the work that all of you are doing, from parents working with kids to teachers to administrators and the like as well. Well, tonight we have the opportunity to talk with Donna and Mark Johnson. You may know them. You may have remember Mark from that time on Sunday mornings when he gets up and talks about God and other stuff like that. Donna also works at the National, I had to write this down so I could remember because it's very long, the National Association of State Auditors, Comptrollers, and Treasurers. And when I interviewed them, I forgot to ask what a comptroller is. I still have no idea, but maybe they can chat with us and let us know what that is. But it was great to get to talk with them, and we're excited to get to hear a little bit more about what life has been like for them, especially as much of Donna's job is helping to plan and design conferences. What does that look like in this time that we're in right now? So we're so glad to talk with them, and let's go right now. Hey, Mark and Donna, how are you all doing?
Hey, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. It's good to see you all. It's good to see you, especially Donna. I see Mark a lot,
Yes.
but it's really nice to see you.
Yes.
That's exactly why I thought we should do this. People see plenty of me, but they want to know if I'm still married to Donna.
I'm still here. Yes, good to see you.
Good. So how have things been going lately? What have you all found yourself doing since we've been, physically distancing and all that stuff? Are you still working from home and stuff, Donna? Or?
Yes, I am. Since I'm a conference manager and we have no in-person conferences happening right now, we transform them all into virtual events. So I've been learning, rather than planning all the fun party stuff with the entertainment and the caterers and that kind of fun stuff, I'm learning how to run webinars. So we have just completed last week. Our annual conference was all Monday through Friday was done all through virtual training. So not as much fun running webinars as planning fun stuff, but
Yeah, our dining room is an internet command center.
yes, we transformed. The dining room is now my office. So
She has a stand-up desk on the dining room table and all her stuff laid out. and she can look right out to see everyone walking by the house throughout the whole day. It's just kind of on the criminal watch program in case something happens in the neighborhood. Donna's the first call, and I was like, well, did you see this? Yeah, I'm right here. I'm on top.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but, it's fine. It was actually quite successful last week doing it the way we did. And, we're a small office and we're a team. So this is what we needed to do. And we pulled together as a team and pulled it off. So this could be the new way for some of our training, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything. I don't see in-person conferences coming back at the capacity they were before anytime soon. So this is going to be the new abnormal for us.
That's a good name for it, the new abnormal. That's what feels right. Yeah, I knew that you had been doing conferences still online, and Mark had said it, but I really hadn't thought till now about just the implications of what that meant. Like, that had to be unbelievably just different to try to pull off.
Yeah, and the sad part is now the first one we canceled was in March. We were supposed to be going to Branson for one of our conferences. We already shipped all of our boxes with all the materials in it, and then the next day we made a call not to go and canceled it. And then subsequently there's 3 or 4 that we've had to cancel, and for me, all of the planning had been done. So like all of the contracts for all the, the events, the hotel, the caterer, the buses, the entertainment. I mean, everything, months and months of planning, and then to, cancel it all was, sad really, because, we were supposed to be in Burlington, Vermont last week, but didn't work out that way.
But Donna does have a really cool story that happened.
Yes, but this is really cool. So the week before last, I got an email from somebody who was in North Dakota, and he needed help getting registered for this conference that we had last week. And his colleague knows me and said to give me a call to get him registered. Well, his name is Brian Stavanger, and my maiden name is Stavanger.
Yeah.
So I emailed him and said, I'm really happy to help get registered. By the way, my maiden name is Stavanger, and my father's family is from Minnesota. So now we're emailing back and forth. Well, his grandparents, Marvin and Grace Stavanger, Marvin, his grandfather, is my father's brother.
Nuh-uh. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So when I said our family was from Minnesota, he said that his grandparents were from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I knew that my father had family in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and so now we're all like, oh my gosh, the smallness of this world that we live in.
Yeah.
And to find out that a second cousin of mine reached out to me, and and so now we've got this email thing going on back and forth, and we're hoping that we can meet someday. But yeah, that was crazy. I had chills like the whole day that happened.
That's amazing.
Every time I thought about it, I just had chills.
Wow.
Which is so neat when you have a last name like Stavanger. You might say, oh, we have family members of that name. But when I meet people named Johnson, it's like, okay, another one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plenty of them.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
That was great.
That's
that was
amazing.
Really cool.
And also working in the same field too. I mean, that's...
Yes. So the company that he works for is one of our sponsors. And one of the people that works at this company, I've gotten to be super good friends with. He's based out of Boston, and I've known him for a very long time. So as soon as I found out that we have this connection, I emailed my friend Eric, and I was like, oh my gosh, you won't believe it. So he immediately picked up the phone and called Brian and said, I've known Donna for years, and I just can't believe this is, such a coincidence. But anyway, that was kind of fun.
Take that, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, so it's great that you've been able to like keep working from home and do all that stuff, and now you've got Command Central over there. That's awesome. Now you had mentioned you got family kind of from Minnesota, right, and stuff. So how does your family make it to Lexington eventually?
My father grew up in a small town, Beaver Creek, Minnesota, and joined the military. And my mother grew up in a small town, Greenville, New Hampshire, and she also joined the military. So my father and mother met when they were stationed down in Florida, and they met on a blind date, and then they eloped 3 months later. And then she made him convert from Lutheran to Catholic, and so that they could actually get remarried in the Catholic Church. But anyway, so just like Mark's family, I've lived in numerous places, but settled in New Hampshire. So that's, I lived there for quite a while and then moved here from there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then my mom and dad followed me down here to get away from the snow and the cold. And my mother is still living. She's 85. She lives alone, just up the street. So she's very close by.
Yeah, that's good.
So Donna's mom, convinced her father to become a Catholic, and I'm still trying to pull Donna over to the Baptist side.
Is it working? I mean, Well,
the church is great, because if you ever were going to be a Baptist, Central Baptist is the kind of place you want to do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Baptist places that Donna would probably run the other way. From me and the church, I would think.
Yeah, I don't attend the Catholic Church anymore. I don't feel as much of a connection there as I do at Central, actually. So I've been back to a service here and there, but I don't really know anybody anymore. I was super involved at Mary Queen for a long, long time, president of the Women's Club, and all in. And then when our kids grew up, I kind of faded away a little bit, and now I don't really know anybody, but when I come to Central, I know everybody, so I feel more of a connection there.
Yeah. Well, we are so glad that you're part of the Central family too, and it's so beautiful. Again, I love Central so much because it is a place where folks from different faith traditions can come and can find a home and know that they're welcome, and there's no pressure to be any different than you are. You can come and just be who you are and be with us, and it's a beautiful thing. So yeah,
it is a good thing. Absolutely.
So
very good.
So we've heard a little bit about what's been going on. So since things have changed and you're stuck at home now and, trying to do all this different, are there other things that you've had? What are you doing to stay sane now? Do you have any time to try to stay sane in the midst of?
Well, fortunately, we have 2 floors in the house.
You send Mark upstairs.
So I have my upstairs, and Donna has the dining room and most of the downstairs, so we can get a little bit of breathing room if necessary. Not necessary all the time. I have joked and said that the great thing about being in the pandemic is being with someone you actually like being around, and that's true for me, I would say. So so it makes it a little better, because we do see a lot more of each other. Donna would have been in May on 3 trips to the West Coast. She was supposed to go to Seattle, Portland, and San Diego. So I wouldn't have seen her at all the month of May.
Yeah, usually I'm gone a lot this time of year, so he's not only stuck with me being home, but he's stuck with me being home. So we take walks, and we missed one of the trips I was supposed to take was out in the spring to Colorado to see the grandchildren, and that didn't work out, so I was feeling sorry for myself for a while, but I don't feel comfortable flying right now. So they were here. They drove from Colorado here about 3 weeks ago. We had them here for 4 days, so we were able to spend time with them. Hadn't seen them in 8 months.
Yeah.
Oh.
So a long time. But so that kind of broke things up a little bit, and then it's been fine. It was hard to settle in at first. I mean, both of us felt really odd. For me, like, what am I going to do? If I'm not planning conferences, how's this all going to work? And then having to like cancel everything I had already planned. And then Mark, you were having trouble like trying to figure out pastoral care and in-person services and all that kind of stuff. So it took a while to kind of settle in. But
we kind of settled in. I mean, we have some go-to menus now, and we kind of know kind of what we're doing for dinner. Before that was oftentimes on the fly. Come home, what are we going to eat tonight? And now we actually do a little bit of planning and get that together. And we have like a show maybe that we try to, get through one a night. Don't want to do more than one a night. We don't want to burn them out, and we don't want to burn us out. And so, and then we've done a lot more walking. We're probably walking every day in the morning, which is something I wasn't able to do as frequently. So we have a lot of neighbors, a lot of friends we kind of see in the passing, and then with the church life, I get to see a lot of folks that others don't get to see or talk to, and so that means a lot, to be able to try to get around and see folks, and by talking like we're doing Zoom and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's amazing how much more important those relationships feel right now too. Having those connections it highlights just how important those are. It's made such a difference in this time to be able to see folks and reach out even through Zoom. So it's pretty amazing. So well, so now what about family in Colorado? Are they doing all right, Donna?
They are. They're doing fine. The kids went back to school yesterday. So she sent me a picture of them walking up to the school with their little masks on. So I don't, their class sizes up there are very small. The school that they go to, there's probably only maybe 12 kids in a class. And hopefully, they'll be able to stay open. Vivian's in kindergarten, and you really need to be with other kids and teachers when you start out in kindergarten. Greg, my son-in-law, works from home. So it was when they shut down schools in the spring. It was hard, and I know we watched last week. We with having little children and working from home and all of that challenge that parents have. We don't have that personally, but hopefully they'll stay safe up there and they'll be able to keep schools open. We'll see, just like everything here.
Yeah.
They live in Winter Park, Colorado, which is up in the elevations. And so you've got a lot of wide open spaces, and it's a small town, and so they can get out a lot. One of the reasons they came to Kentucky or Ohio area is they had bought a 1987 camper that they could pull. And so they took it up for the first time to a lake up in the mountains and showed us some pictures of camping out and getting out a little bit, and enjoying the wide open spaces and great outdoors of Colorado.
Yeah.
So they're doing good. They're doing really fine.
Well, that's good. And so they're not anywhere close to where the fires are happening and stuff now. They're all safe from all that. So
no, but there could be areas where they have fires, but they haven't had to deal with that.
They keep a close eye on that kind of thing, because there's really just one road in and out of Winter Park.
Yeah.
So they've talked about like escape plans if they had to, if it came to that, but they're not in any danger right now.
Well, that's good. Good. Well, Mark, what about you? What about Kyle and Neil? How are they doing?
Oh, thanks for asking. So Kyle's in China, and he has been there almost a year. He was able to come home in Christmas in 2019, just this past Christmas. And then he was hoping to come home this summer, but of course with COVID hitting there and then here, all of that just really wasn't going to work out. If he had come back to see us in the summer, he probably wouldn't have been able to go back to his job in China. And he had a lot of friends that did leave China, during the holidays and stuff that couldn't get back in. So anyway, he has changed schools and apartments to get closer into Shanghai. And so he's living in Shanghai and started this week with their school year, and is kind of staying busy with the new apartment. And then he had about 2 weeks in July where he was able to go do a little sightseeing. And he said that, they're pretty much an open society there. And I said, well, are your infection rates the same? And he said, well, the Chinese government's not going to take it the truth. So nonetheless, he said, we're kind of just going about it as if, none of this is happening. But most of the people still wear masks and some are not. And, you just kind of get back to it. But I do know they do a lot more contact tracing there. And he did tell us a story back a couple of months ago where he had an apartment friend that he knew. And one day he heard a lot of commotion in the hallway. And he came out the next day and her door was taped shut. And what had happened is that she had been on a flight, and one person on that flight had the virus, and they traced everybody on that flight and quarantined them in their apartment for 2 weeks. And so afterwards, he asked her, how are you getting food and how are you doing that? And someone that lived above her was lowering down food so that she could have fresh food when she was literally locked in her apartment by the government for 2 whole weeks. Yeah. So it's a different society. They can do things differently there to try to get a hold of some things rather than relying on, the goodwill and good behavior of the citizens of their country.
Wow. It makes complaining about haircuts feel a little different, doesn't it? It kind of puts that in a little bit of perspective.
And then Neil also changed apartments and changed jobs, except for it was all here in Lexington. And he is with Smithtown. He's been with Rita Michaels and Wendy Corner and then Zim's, and now they've moved him to Smithtown. And he's been there probably 2 months or 3 months, the one that's at West 6th. The Smithtown over here in the barn at the Summit, they shut that down. And he's doing really well. He is renting a place that's far superior from where he was living previously for about 3 years. So we're very happy that he's got a better, newer place to live. And it's in one of the best areas of Lexington. It's as close as Henry Clay's estate. Ashland is as close to his new place as the church is to Fayette Mall.
Oh, wow.
So he's right in that area, in a property that has like 8 or 9 units in it. And so I think he's a lot happier there.
Quite the upgrade.
Yeah, quite the upgrade. Yeah, he went from living pretty much in a one room where you open the front door and hit the bed,
right,
to now a kitchen, a bedroom, a living room, and actually a hallway. And the hallway he's in now is about the size of the square footage of the apartment he had before. So his life's taken off, leaps and bounds.
Yes.
Well, that's good, and I'm glad that they've been able to do that. It's good to hear that some restaurants and stuff are able to stay open and do what they need to do to keep going, especially during this time that's been so hard on that sector, especially. So.
Well, Rita immediately redesigned her whole business plan, and was one of the very first to figure out how to do carry-out food and how to, get that taken care of. And then actually at Holly Hill, the original restaurant that she ran in Midway, they were doing carry-out, but then opening up their front yard and their porch to be able to eat there, to eat outside. And we actually did that about a month and a half ago, and it was lovely. Drive to Midway, order your food ahead of time. You go to the back door, you pick it up, you take it to a front table, and you almost feel like you're eating out,
Yeah.
Which you were, but like eating out in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And so her ability to kind of think through how to do this safely is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it was a treat. I think that, and we've done the Zim's patio at the courthouse too, which has been nice. We are not ready to go inside of a restaurant. So when the cold weather comes, we'll kind of be missing out on the things that we've been doing outside, but we're just not ready to risk it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we haven't been into a restaurant either. We've just done all takeout. So, just the other day there was a different person came into our house. We hadn't had anybody in the house, and we were all masked up and stuff. But you never, it's just weird not having done that for so long. Yeah,
you almost feel like you're doing something. Yeah, you almost feel like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to tell you, like, is this okay? Is this okay for someone to be in our house? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, we've had a couple of instances where we've had somebody not related to us in the house, and it is weird. You're right. Yeah. It is a weird feeling, But we haven't done any. The one thing I do miss is not having any family gatherings at all. So, Valerie hasn't been out of the Lafayette, and so the first holiday was Easter, and then usually when the kids are here, we have a big family gathering when they're here. Some summer cookouts and that kind of thing. So we haven't had any of that. So that's it's been hard not being able to bring everybody together. And usually this is where everyone gathers, and we just haven't had anything like that. So that's been hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But
it's
we gotta keep everybody safe. My mom hasn't been out of the house much at all. She said, I'll call her up and tell her she's got a doctor's appointment. She's like, the only thing I ever get to do is go to the doctor. But some of her appointments I've been able to schedule doing telehealth, so she hasn't even had to leave her living room, which has been, if it's just a follow-up visit, then they've been good about doing that.
Yeah, well, that's a lot better.
I think she's probably getting tired of seeing me. I'm sensing in our relationship lately of late that there's a little bit of friction in our relationship. So I think she might be getting tired of seeing me.
Yeah, maybe you need to put on a mask, and you could be somebody different.
I bring her food. We made a homemade meal yesterday, so I brought her some leftovers today for lunch, and she was very happy to see me then.
Right.
But
my parents are so much more excited to see me when I have Emma and Jake with me. It's so much better with them than it is just me. But Emma and Jake, that makes a difference.
Yeah,
that's right. It changes everything.
You got it.
Yes, there is nothing quite like being grandparents, and I know the Kincaids are new grandparents, so that's super exciting for them. And some real good friends of ours that live in the neighborhood, they have their first one due in November. And so it's just it changes everything.
Yeah. The Sims in our church.
Yeah.
Donna has a work associate that just had a baby.
She's had a baby.
So
our first little NASAC work baby. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Which is why we ended up having to do some of the back end webinar stuff, because she's our guru in that field, but she's on maternity leave. So we had to figure it out. But
yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, yeah.
It's working.
That's awesome.
That's working.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's so good to talk with you all and hang out. Now, did you all have something that you wanted to share tonight, like a poem or something?
Yeah, so Donna's going to read a poem from Wendell Berry, and we were trying to think of something to do, and it just was kind of funny because I was looking for something, and then this is a book that we've used in the past, and she was looking through this book on good poems that Garrison Keillor had put together, and we actually landed on the same poem.
Whoa.
I paused at this one, and then about 5 minutes later he said, I found one that might work, and he said it was The Vacation by Wendell Berry, and I said, oh my gosh, I just looked at that one. So it was meant to be.
So it felt like it was meant to be, but just as a quick setup, it's to help us realize that a lot of our life can get ahead of us, and we can just get so busy about all the little things that we're doing or trying to do to enjoy our life that we kind of miss really living our lives. And so I thought this was kind of appropriate for that. So this is The Vacation with Wendell Berry.
Okay. Once there was a man who filmed his vacation. He went flying down the river in his boat with his video camera to his eye, making a moving picture of the moving river upon which his sleek boat moved swiftly toward the end of his vacation. He showed his vacation to his camera, which pictured it, preserving it forever. The river, the trees, the sky, the light, the bow of his rushing boat, behind which he stood with his camera, preserving his vacation, even as he was having it, so that after he had it, he would still have it. It would be there with the flick of a switch. There it would be. But he would not be in it. He would never be in it.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've heard that one before.
So just be in it. Be in your life, and don't let it just kind of swiftly pass by, or act like it's a movie, or act like it's something to record. Just live it. Just embrace it.
Yeah, you have to savor the moments a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially as we get older, we have to savor the moments.
Yeah.
Because they're going by quickly.
Faster.
It does.
Too fast.
I remember somebody telling me that when I was younger, like I was in high school or something. He said, the older you get, the faster time goes. And, of course I was like, and now I'm like, smart man. Because it does feel that way.
That's right.
Time does get by.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those are good words for us to remember, especially right now in the midst of this, that we can have a chance to stop and take a deep breath. It feels like there's been some opportunities, even in the midst of all the difficulty, to do that. Or this time is kind of pushed those awareness of that a little more for me, I feel like, too.
Yeah.
So how important that is.
But before we get away, I do want to say a word of thanks to you, Aaron, for putting these together and doing Vespers. A lot of folks have told me they feel really connected to some folks that they didn't get a chance to know, even when they were sitting in the same room with them in worship, and that there's this real sense of getting to know people in their home that's been a real benefit for our fellowship. So I really want to thank you for that, and also to encourage anyone else that would like to do Vespers, that it's really not that painful. It's maybe a little uncomfortable, but you can get used to it. And Aaron's a great host, and he leads you right through your questions. And so we want to get to know you too. So others, please think about volunteering, getting a hold of Aaron and saying, I want to be a Vespers guest.
Oh, thanks for that. Well, that's the beautiful thing about this, is that there's not a lot to do except ask some questions for me. And we have such a beautiful congregation, so many wonderful folks, and people are really just excited to hear about each other's lives and to see what's going on. So there's no pressure. And I tell you, if there's ever a place where I felt welcomed and accepted, just like I am, it's Central Baptist, So it's a wonderful place. So thank you for all you do, Mark. Thank you, Donna, for making this. I don't know if Mark made this time wonderful, but you made this a great time. No.
Absolutely.
No, it was so great to get to talk with you all. So.
Yeah, it was like they saw in the email, Mark and Donna. It's going to have Donna. I'll watch it.
That's why I put Donna's name first. So just to make sure that
I thought that was alphabetical. I had no idea.
Okay. Well, thank you all, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, Donna and Mark, so much for sharing with us this evening. It really was a joy to get to talk with you all and to get to hear from you and hear about what's going on in your lives too. So thank you for sharing with us. And thanks, Mark, for plugging Vespers too. If you'd like to share, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And we'd be happy and love to get to talk with you on Vespers as well, if you're interested in doing that. Also, if you have any prayer requests, you can send those to pray@lexcentral.com. You can go to lexcentral.com/pray and find a list of all our current prayer requests as well, so that we can continue to join with each other and share with each other and support one another as we go through this time of separation. But now, let's take some time and just pray right now too. If you want to offer a prayer or a prayer request in the chat, you're welcome to do that while I'll pray, and then we'll sing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. Sometimes, I guess when I grew up, I used to sing this song as, as we were saying, this is true and this is how things are. And sometimes now when I sing this song, it's more of a prayer that God would remind me of this truth, that God would help me to see this truth out there, because sometimes the world does feel quite out of control. And maybe God's control is just different than our control as well. And rather than trying to control, God is embracing the world in love and in hope and in grace. So before we sing, let's take just a few moments and pray together. Feel free to share your requests, and then we'll sing together before we go. God, we are grateful for your presence that binds us together, even when we are separated and apart. We're grateful for the long legacy of faith and of welcome and of hope that we find in the midst of Central Baptist Church, God. For those who have gone before us, that have left this beautiful legacy that we have inherited. We thank you for those among us now who continue to work for peace and justice, who continue to bring healing, continue to bring grace, whether it's through their beautiful smiles, their comments on the internet, the notes that they send, and the mail, whether it's an email or a phone call, whether sometimes it's just the memory of them, seeing them in the way that they walk, the way that they bring your hope and your peace to the world around them, God, just by their very presence. We are grateful for this cloud of witnesses that we are in, God. And so we ask, God, that you would bring hope and that you would bring healing to those who are lonely and tired and weary right now, that you would bring peace and grace to those who are stressed, that you would bring wisdom to those who feel like they are at the end of their rope, God, and that you would help all of us to be a little bit of your love, a little bit of your hope, a little bit of your peace to those around us. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Let's sing. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got you and me, sister, in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got everybody there in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Amen. Thanks so much for being with us this evening. Join us again on Sunday as we gather again on YouTube for worship. We'll be back in the sanctuary then. We have the opportunity to share communion as well. So gather up your saltines and your ginger ale or whatever else it is that you've got laying around the house, and join in on Sunday as we celebrate communion together. Also, if you'd like to join in another one of our groups that meets throughout the week, you can find out more about that at lexcentral.com/Zoom. And there you'll find a list of some folks to contact so that you can join in with a Sunday school class or baby boomers or another group that's meeting as well. Thanks again for meeting with us this evening, and we'll see you again soon on Sunday. Go in peace.